We had a very good relationship. I mean, we used to spend quite a lot of time. He would invite me to his house and to have dinner, and after dinner we would retire to his room upstairs, private, first floor, or what they call the upper floor of his house. We sit down, just the two of us, and talk about many things. Of course, he was not happy about certain things. He was not happy about One Malaysia at that time. He was not happy. I was using that jet. He said, "Why don't you sell the jet?" I said, "The jet was bought by Pakla," he said. But I noticed even today he's still using the same jet. Because it's not actually a big jet. It's when you go internationally, set aside, side by side, the other leaders. Ours is a tiny jet compared. The other leaders were using a 747 or a Airbus 330, you see. But it was something that I thought, as a leader of the country, and we are going quite global, that we do need a reasonable size plane to get us around. It started with the Crooked Bridge. I think the Crooked Bridge was something which he had a very strong obsession about, the Crooked Bridge. But I told him that if UMNO could convince UMNO Johor to do that project, I would go along with it. But UMNO Johor did not support the implementation of the project. I have difficulty for two reasons. One, the project was cancelled by Pakla and compensations were paid. It's very hard for me to explain to the public, after you cancel a project, paid compensation, it's not a small compensation, then you want to restart the project. So it will be double jeopardy. Secondly, the Singaporeans do not want that project. And if you have a crooked bridge, how do you connect with the causeway on the Singapore side? So you have a modern 4-lane, and then you have to attach to the old causeway. It just looks ridiculous, His point was that, oh, never mind, Singapore is not going to go to war with Malaysia. But it's not a question of that. It's a question of being realistic about it. And I couldn't, maybe I was thinking too rationally, that I couldn't, I wanted actually a straight bridge, because I spoke to Siandong whether we could demolish the causeway. But Singapore said they're not prepared to pay for it because they think the causeway can last another 30 years. So that was Singapore's position. And whether you like it or not, Singapore is another sovereign nation. So you have to, and what do you do? I mean, you cannot just simply force Singapore to accept certain things. In a sense, yes. I underestimated the ability of opposition to get together, given the history, the very colorful history, so to speak. I also underestimated that the public would accept a 93-year-old man, given the history of Dr. Mahathir, that he stood for things that are very much not consonant with the demands of the young people. That was the Mahathir, that period. But surprisingly, once you join opposition, you seem to have, you start on a clean slate if you join opposition. At that time, he was with PERKASA, and he was more on the right wing, even against ISA, against all these things, against removal of the Seditious Act and things like that. So he stood on that platform for some time. It was subsequently he moved and joined up with DAP and all that, So that's a big change in his, in his political position. And this happened quite recently. But if you go on his track record, when he was in UMNO, he labeled DAP as racist and anti-Malay. I have not done that. I have not attacked DAP in that manner. Of course, we disagree, but I have not said DAP is anti-Malay or outrightly. I'm concerned about some of their their policies, yes. But he's on record, very, very, practically all his speeches would demonize DAP, and DAP would demonize him. And DAP said if we were in power, he would be the first person we put in prison. DAP is on record to say that, you see. So when they got together, it was something that I didn't expect. I don't know how many people expected it. The nature of the words we used, I didn't explicitly say they're racist or anti-Malay, or anti-Islam. But I did express concern about DAP because the policies of DAP will not be, in line with UMNO's policies.
But many UMNO leaders did use those words.
Well, UMNO is a big party, 3 million people. Of course, you have, people, and they express things in their own style, their own language. Yeah. There were other demands. He wanted more money for Langkawi. He wanted other things. But when I could accommodate, I accommodated. Like he wanted his son to be Menteri Besar of Kedah, and I accommodated that. But after that, I didn't realize that things deteriorated after that.